Everybody, here we are in the computer, and I just wanted to show you just something that I came up with here. One of the most important things for me is to find out how to get proper skin tones with my cameras. So since the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera is new to me, I wanted to make sure that before I go out and do some professional shoot with it, I want to make sure that I know what to expect when getting proper exposure. Because unlike the GH3 and just about every DSLR camera, those come with light meters, whereas the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera does not come with a light meter. So you need to buy a light meter and learn how to use it to get proper exposure. But I wanted to do this little setup just in case some of you don't have a light meter, or sometimes I don't always take my light meter with me. I've done that a few times. I would be messing around at home, and then when I get to where I need, I don't have it, and that kind of freaks me out. So I said, let me learn how to do it here. On the GH3, I did these same tests, although I didn't post them on my website or anything. So anyways, here we go. This is a gray card. Just to let you know how the scene is set up, you can see it's brighter over here because I have an LED light off to the left, and over here to the right is a window with sunlight coming in, but it's a good 20 feet away maybe or so. So you can see the card is brighter here, and of course gets dimmer here because it's getting further away from the LED light source here. And what I did was I just went through and I tried different settings. Hopefully you guys can see that. Just trying to see how I can get exposure, and just using zebras. Now, when I was out filming for the first time with this, I just did like a little video. You can go check it out on my website. It's called A Store in Buford, and I literally got the camera and days later filmed that. So I wasn't really familiar with the camera. I just used kind of basic knowledge and went with what I felt was right. And for most of the scenes, I had my camera at 100% zebra, and I would blow the scene out, and then I would just either use an ND filter or just use the aperture and close it down till there were no zebras on the important parts of the scene. And it worked out pretty good. When I brought it into DaVinci Resolve, of course, it looked really blown out, but I could just lower the exposure, and it came out great. Now, however, skin tones is a little different. You got to be careful with skin tones. You want to make sure your skin tones are properly exposed, and that's what this test here was doing, what I was doing here. So I took a gray card and I tried all the, let's bring up the color thing here. Okay, you can see here, I used 100% zebra here, and I opened up the shutter until I was getting zebras everywhere, and then I started closing the shutter till there was no more zebra. And really, there was a little, when I looked on the back of the screen, although there were no zebras, this was really blown out. I couldn't see no detail. And I don't know if you can see this, but this gray card, which is an 18% gray card, has like a texture to it. And you can actually see the texture here, but at 100% zebra and closing the aperture where the zebras would disappear, I just couldn't see it. And so what I did was I just clicked down a few more till I could see the detail. So basically using zebras just as a warning, and then using my own eyes to figure out does that look right or not. And this is what I got on the waveform monitor. Now on a waveform monitor, 100, which is right below here, is 100%, is 100 IRE would be 100% white, which would mean if I expose this too bright, like let's say go on this one, we're getting closer to being fully blown out here because 100 is right about here. Once you fully blow out something, you almost more than likely cannot pull it back in post, and you lose everything in there. All the information is gone. And likewise down here at 100 would be 100% black. So if I were to really underexpose this way down here, I would lose all the detail over here because it would be 100% black. So skin tones, they should go between 500 and, well on here it's 512 and 640. Anywhere in between here is good. I think Premiere Pro shows like 50 and 60. It doesn't show 500 and 600, but it's all the same. You want to go right in the middle of these two. Now at 512 or 50, which is a little below here, would be perfectly exposed, which this area would be perfectly exposed. And if we look on the waveform, that's this area like right here. So this is showing perfect exposure, whereas this is starting to get closer to the blown out mark, and this is getting closer to 100% black. So anyway, so I eyeballed it pretty well here. If you could see, we're almost right in the middle here. Now it's, in order to get this 100% in between these two, I would have to set up my lighting properly, which if you're on set, you would probably want to light this side if you want this to be a 1-to-1 contrast ratio, which means you'd have the same amount of light with your key light and your fill light, so this would be lit up 100% exactly the same. That would give me that perfect line across here. You know, like chick flicks, they usually like to light that way. I like a little contrast, so this is a good example for this, having you know, less light on one side than the other. But as you can see here, using 100% here, I increased it till I saw zebras, and I went down till there were no more zebras, and this is what I get. And I went through all these different settings. I don't think I'm going to go through all these settings here. This one was probably the best. And this one here, I just completely eyeballed it. I didn't even use zebras. I just messed around with the shutter till I got what I thought looked good, and that happened to be the best one there. Let's go to the editing here, and we'll just take you through some of these. You can see what I was doing here. Now here I had this camera shooting into a mirror, so I didn't have anybody to do this with me because it was spare of the moment. My wife wasn't, she was out with her mom, so I said, well, I'm going to have to use myself as a model here, and so I used a mirror, and I just went through all these different settings. I deleted some of them here. You don't see them all here, but just you could see just different settings. Here's a color graded one here, and then I kind of went back further to see what I would get. Here's me with the gray card. When you want to do an 18% gray card, you want to move it right like that, so the light is reflecting right into the lens. That way you can expose properly, so you're not blowing out the 18% gray card, which you're going to do the same thing with skin tones, but I added that in there just to see. And I was getting zebras on my face, of course, first before the card. So if I were to expose for just the card, then my skin tone wouldn't have been properly exposed. So that's why I just trying to figure out here without a gray card. Now you can set your scenes up with a gray card or a light meter. I would always prefer a light meter because that's going to give you the real deal there. Here it is, just trying it out. This is getting pretty close to perfectly exposed here, and in a second here I will, let's see there's the gray card. Look at that, it's like perfect exposed. I'm a little brighter than the card, so if I were to expose like this, I'm okay. It looks fine, but it's a little on the hot side, but not too bad. Here I'm just trying different things. You can't see the zebra marks, of course, on here. And I just held up the gray card, and now you can see I'm going brighter here, basically talking to myself. And here we go. We're getting closer to a nice skin tone. This is color graded, by the way, and it's looking pretty good. And this was a little too, kind of bright there. Different settings. And how I got this also is toward the end here, I wanted to keep the camera at 1.8 because your director might say, hey, we want really shallow depth of field, so keep your camera at 1.8. And of course, if you're shooting with this, you're going to keep it at 800 ISO. So the only way to get exposure is to manipulate the lights. So I was basically just using the inverse square law, as backing the light further away from me to get the proper exposure in camera here. And you can see me messing around with it here. And let's get to the bottom here. This is another one. And after all that, I basically came up with this here. Let me turn these on. This is right out of the camera. What I did, here's the deal. I put the camera on 75% zebra, and I blew out my face till there's zebras all over it. And I manipulated the lights, or you can close down the aperture on your camera to get what you want. And what I did, I think on here, just to save me time, I just started closing down the aperture to where there was no more zebras on my face. And on my face there was zebras here, on my cheekbone, and on my nose, and somewhere right here. And once I got just a little bit of zebras there, I clicked down one more aperture click, basically to give me a little room from a little bit of zebras to no zebras at 75%. And you can see here on the waveform monitor, here's that 500 and 600. My face is right in the middle there, so that looks good. And so then I brought it here in DaVinci Resolve, now that I know I have a good exposure. And by just messing around with all this stuff here, I come up with that, which looks pretty darn good. Now, doing it this way at 75%, and you're kind of lower here on the waveform monitor, it is going to be a little grainy. Since I had this camera, I actually started embracing noise. I actually love the noise or the grain on the camera. So you can sit here and expose to the right, which would mean take all this information and just in your camera brighten it up to where all the information's higher than 50, and then crush it down to get rid of noise. But I don't know if you guys can see this on here, but just I love the absolute grain that it's noise, but it looks like film grain. So that's it, guys. I am going to leave you with that. Skin tones, set your camera at 75% and manipulate your lights or close down your aperture till you just get a couple little pieces of zebra, and then one more notch down, or back your lights up, or put diffusion on them, or whatever you're going to do. And this is what, let's go back here. Whoops, wrong button. Let's just go back, turn off all the stuff. And that's what you're going to get right out of the camera. Skin tones is what I was most concerned about, which they're right where I want them. And I just, actually what do? Is I think I go with this one first. I forget which one I did first. I'm confused here. Oh, there, this one. That's it. So right here I went to my second node and I added some color and saturation. Then I just went back and basically just opened up other nodes for saturation and bringing down contrast and all that. But that's it. I don't know what else to say. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the description, in the comments section, or go to my website at aaronjanderson.com and let me know what you think. Talk to you later. Okay, so here we are. Before I leave, my wife was nice enough to be my model, so I can show you guys like kind of a proper setup. Because when I showed you earlier my setup, you know, trying to film yourself is really hard. So here's my wife here in the scene here. And first of all, just to explain the scene, what we got going on here is I have an LED light over here shining here, which would be kind of like a fill light, and we've got the sunlight coming in over here, which could be considered the key light. And I was mainly going for a 1-to-1 contrast ratio, trying to match my LED light to the same brightness or intensity as my sunlight coming in. And then back here I have a rim light or a hair light, which I also put a tungsten gel on it. So these are all daylight balanced, and the hair light has a tungsten or an orange tint gel to it. And so when I set the scene up, when I first put her in the scene here, because her hair is black and we've got the white couch here, which wrapped all the way around her, the problem that I was having was 75% zebra for the settings I showed you. Well, this was blowing out, the back of the couch was blowing out, part of her shoulder here was blowing out, and that was pretty much it. So it was all blown out. So this is the importance of lighting a set properly. If I would have just thrown her here with just available light, it wouldn't look as pretty. So what I did was to cancel out the blowing out of her shoulder and the couch here, we put a pillow here behind her so that blocks the couch, and it actually shades the hair light from hitting her shoulder too much here. Now you can do that on set, or you can just get a flag and flag it off, but I didn't have time. I didn't want to run to get a flag when a simple pillow here does the trick just fine. And the LED light over here, I put just a white diffuser umbrella in front of it to soften the light, and by doing that it drops down about a stop. So by the time it hit her face and then hit over here, this wasn't blowing out anymore. And the light coming in was actually blowing out her face when she looked over here. Well, let me go back a little bit. Like right about here, it was blowing this out. So we have two different curtains here, a really thick one and kind of a see-through one. So by closing the see-through one, that diffused the sunlight enough to where I wasn't getting anything blown out here. So that left me with 75% zebra showing up, and then one little click below there, or back the light up, whatever it takes that if you want blurry backgrounds and you're going to have to manipulate the light. I think I manipulated the light to an extent, and then I think I was at like 2.0, and then I just went to like 2.4 or 2.6 or whatever is on my lens there, just to get me no zebras at 75%. And that's what it looks like here. So, just like any scene, that's probably one of the hardest parts of setting up a scene is the lighting, because it's 100% important to get your lighting right, to get your skin tones right, and to make it look really good. Now the other thing is you notice in her eyes here, you've got the little sparkle or twinkle in the eye. This is very important too, where to set your light to keep that there, because even though her hair is coming down here, we're not losing her eyes because we've got the little sparkles in her eyes. So that's really important there. And then what I did was, here, the waveform monitor, we can see, as I was showing you earlier, we want to keep between 500 and 600 here on the waveform. And if we look at this, these colors here represent these leaves here. And these things here are her hair coming down. And right in the middle here is her face, which is right at 640, a little under 640. So I was in my target range with setting 75% zebras on a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera and going just to where we don't see no zebras, which put me right there, right where I wanted it, and which turned out pretty good. So you can see if I move this, watch here, you'll see her face moving. Watch the waveform, you see her looking, and she looks back. See, it never blows out or anything, because I have my key light, or to the left here, my fill light and my key light at the exact same exposure along with the sunlight. So everything has the exact same exposure, therefore I wasn't blowing out when she looks to the right and so forth. So just wanted to share that with you guys, and if I just turn on all the different filters, you'll see the final look here of what I was going for. And oh yeah, what I did too is I actually brought the exposure down by minus 1.07 to bring it down here. So what I was going for here was just kind of a natural look. I didn't want to go for any, weird look, just kind of trying to go for a natural look here. And that's about it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this. Leave some comments and go to aaronjanderson.com, and we'll talk to you next time.